Throughout our course on digital literacy, we have been encouraged to engage with various aspects of technology as it influences our daily lives and our culture. On the surface, we are entranced by personal technology, to the point where we may not fully comprehend the implications of its use on how we view the world, and in turn, the world's view on us. It is in this course that we've been learning how to reflect critically on those components that comprise our digital self and our digital engagement. And for this final project, we will be focusing on a specific object lesson as a mode of consolidation and demonstration of competencies developed in the course. Now, as a pre-medical student, I want to pull this assignment into my personal wheelhouse. In doing so, I found a digital object which I believe will be of interest to a vast majority of viewers. WebMD, a medical research engine which provides public access to publication on health and wellness, anatomical index, and pathological diagnosis, has been a site of much contention in the last few years. While beneficial for research and to aid in identification of disease, there's a deeper social parameter that may be of interest. WebMD self-identifies as an online news publication site and is best known for its pharmaceutical and symptom checking directories. The company was worth $2.8 billion as of 2017. An investor release in late 2017 noted that the site had over 227 billion unique visits per month, demonstrating that this popular database satisfied some need by informing the public as to serious ailments and everyday queries alike. Physicians, students, and the general population have the ability to peruse for healthy recipes, view interviews with specialists, or search for information on conditions, as well as access to drug facts. In a modern and fast-moving society, where there is little time to seek frequent medical counsel, WebMD has become a household name, similar to Googling it. It is apparent that sites such as this serve a key cultural function in our digital society. However, as the years of exposure to such an array of information have progressed, there have spawned numerous modes by which too much access of information by lay users can have detrimental implications. A 2019 Healthline article by Jessica Seaman shared her personal tribulations with having too much access to online information. She authored an article titled Confessions of a Cyberchondriac, in which she discussed her personal journey of overactive self-diagnosis and the anxiety associated with overactive compulsive pattern thinking on new symptoms she had read about online. Cyberchondria is no new term, however. In a 2006 article by Australian Tanya Lewis for Culture, Medicine, and Society, there is a strong emphasis placed on the dangers of over-medicalization and hyperexposure to too much medical data online. So, it's my opinion that cyberchondria is dangerous. We as a society have access to way too much medical information online without the necessary explanation that is required by medical personnel. As a result, we can expect to see an increase in medical hysteria resulting from people not having the ability to counsel medical professionals. This is expected to continue to happen as long as access to healthcare and medicine is kept at arm's length, and we, as a general population, have to take our healthcare into our own hands and consider ways other than the biomedical to seek treatment. Don't get me wrong, a plethora of medical information at our fingertips is without a doubt a blessing and a profound privilege. This profound privilege enables everyday people to discern between emergent medical situations and self-treatable ailments. A study by the British Medical Journal in 2015 titled Evaluation of Symptom Checkers for Self-Diagnosis and Triage enlisted the notion that symptom research to an accurate diagnosis and triage of emergent, life-threatening ailments in 80% of occurrence. This was comparable to non-emergent or everyday ailments where there was a misdiagnosis in 66% of recorded attempts by the study. Such a study demonstrates the potential utility of online medical databases but also highlights the potential psychological distress associated with personal misdiagnosis, personal mistreatment, or additionally, chronic mistreatment as a result of lack of access to medical care or medical understanding. An additional point to be made with reference to psychological distress pertains to how WebMD makes their money. Gibbs in 2014 raises a point about direct-to-consumer advertisement of pharma on public diagnostic websites. The USA, one of the most unhealthy and over-medicated countries in the world, is also one of the only countries that allows for pharmaceutical companies to legally advertise to patients, as opposed to a strict regulation on physician-only advertisement. This hyper-capitalist or big pharma approach to medicine allows for patients to have the autonomy to request drugs, whilst also feeding a cultural reliance on pills. The bombardment of medical advertisements is very apparent on sites such as WebMD, and one can only imagine the psychological distress experienced by an individual looking to a site for medical answers, finding only the worst of outcomes for their symptom searches, the firewall of medication and advertisements to accompany. So, what does this all mean? The essential understanding to synthesize is that there's a heightened incidence of psychological distress associated with online medical diagnosis platforms. Users have an increased autonomy, but at what cost? Cyberchondria has led to a revolutionary disease experience. People are contracting the symptoms of illness they do not have based on reading about them online. And to make issues worse, the presence of big pharma advertisements only add to an ever-growing over-medicalization and over-medicalized population in order to curb this paranoia. Another final point to be made pertains to the decreased reliance on clinicians for support in the diagnostic process. Kwan, Shaw, and Moraine, 2019, surveyed 100 college students for their preferred mode of medical research and diagnosis. 22% of college students identified the internet as their primary source of information, due to an embarrassment or lack of desire to ask difficult questions to medical professionals. Whilst challenging the role of doctors in the diagnosis process is an impressive move towards patient autonomy, we should also recognize that cutting experience out of our medical regime also opens the floodgates to disastrous mental health. WebMD is a critically important resource for personal and professional use. To have such a database of information at one's fingertips is a blessing of modern technology and digital culture. This said, in recent years, there has been an increase in psychological distress associated with lay users or inexperienced or non-medical personnel accessing such a plethora of information without the counsel of medical clinicians or professionals. This object lesson aimed to highlight WebMD as a digital medical artifact and to premise the severity of its over or misuse by the public. Cyberchondria has become an increased component and feature of our over-digitalization of the medical field. And in my opinion, it will continue to be a critical factor of our digital experience so long as there is a combined diminishing need for physician-patient interaction and a resulting mistrust or fear of requesting information by patients from physicians.